morning drive to help Jaeger out, and because I need to give this bike a service, I thought I'd record some of what I'm doing and let you guys see what I do. So I've basically taken the tyre off the wheel, and I'm going to do an inspection of the wheel to make sure the wheel's good. I know there are some problems with it, so you can see there's a rub spot, probably just about. The wheel basically had been curbed and had quite a large dent in it. I've straightened that out using a pair of pliers actually, just to make it rideable for the moment, and we'll have to invest in a new wheel at some point because it's probably okay to ride, but I wouldn't ride it for too long. It tends to make the rims weaker and more likely to fail in the long run, but for the short term, and because it wasn't too bad, I straightened it. So what I'm going to do is take a look over the wheel. It's generally quite dirty, as you can see, not really a problem. So I'll go round them and check the spokes. So what you're after is that each spoke moves about the same amount when you squeeze them. This side's generally quite good. That one's a bit loose, you can see. Same pressure, much more movement. So I need to tighten that up. The other side, these will generally be tighter, so you'll expect less movement on the drive side, where the cogs are. And that's because they're a straighter pull, so they're more vertical. Again, that's a bit looser than the rest. Don't worry if they click, it just means that they've settled. So you might see there's a fret mark, but no, that one's quite tight, you can hear. So sometimes you can play tunes with them, and they should all be about the same note. Not necessarily, but fairly close. Then we have a look at the bearings. You can see, hopefully, that maybe even here. Get to the right spot. There we go. See it moving? So I need to tighten those. So I will show you how to do that, hopefully. If I can get this tripod set up and working. There we go. Cool. So what you're going to need is a spanner that fits the two size nuts. So you've got the lower cone and the upper cone. And then obviously your nut sits on the outside of the bike. So you ignore the nut that sits on the outside for the moment. And you'll see this one isn't, you can see the flats on it. So that's normally a 15mm. The cone spanners are very thin, as you can see. It helps them fit in the gaps. If you've got a thin spanner, you can do it normally. And then normally it's a 17 above it. So what I'm just going to do is loosen the two. So, anyhow, it's a bit tight. They will be, yeah, there we go. The top one undoes anti-clockwise when you're holding the lower one, the furthest one away from you steady. And that basically then means that while I'm wiggling it, I can take the lower one and tighten it. So holding the bottom nut still, so I'll loosen it off a bit more, make it more obvious. You see how much play there is in there now. See? So what you want to do is just tighten it, just to take the play out, but not make it notchy. If it goes notchy, you probably need to replace the bearings, and it also means you've done it up too tight. This one feels like I'm not going to be able to take much play out of it. It's a little bit old and a little bit knackered, but we just want to make it rideable for the moment, just to get us through this lockdown and get some exercise. So once I've set that, do the nut back up. Now what you want to try and do is make sure that the two don't move. So having a third pair of hands, or cheat and have a second set of pliers. So adjusting the bottom one to hold the large nut still, that means that it won't move. So when I tighten it up, I don't lose my adjustment. So readjusting that back up. It's going to be too tight. What you want is just get rid of the play, and then holding the lower one still relative to the one underneath. Yeah. There you go. Tighten the top one up against it. Doesn't have to be massively tight, just tight enough to stop it coming undone. Okay, I've over tightened that now. It's now not going to spin. Yeah. So I just need to loosen it off slightly. Now, two ways you can do that. Take the two large outer nuts, hold one steady and turn the other one counterclockwise, and it should move the inner nut too. if you've set it up right. It does or doesn't. This one's not going to do it because it's going to be a pain. Just to prove me wrong, yep. So I've backed it off slightly, and then I'll wind the smaller nut up against it just to loosen it off slightly. What you're after is that the wheel moves freely without being notchy, but doesn't rattle. If it rattles against the spindle, it's too loose. Getting that. A little bit more. That's nice and free to turn, and no play. There, you can't hear it rattle. And then when you spin the wheel, it should be smooth. You can see it catching very slightly, and that's just because the bearings are old, but much better than it was. It'll be nicer to ride. I'll put the wheel back in the bike, and then I'll show you a quick video on straightening the wheels if you have the tools. See you in a second. Bye.